It was actually incredibly complex because it spanned so many different counties in the state of Florida. It also went into Alabama, and then it also went into Georgia. So it took some time for me to put it completely together to present to the jury.
And her Alabama case is still active, I believe.
I don't know anything about her Alabama case.
Tell me a little bit. You did get to see the interview we did with her. What was your take on her explanation of the version of events?
I feel like Mary Rice is living in a world where she has convinced herself that her lies are her truth.
Does that play in part at all? She said that she was repeatedly drugged. The FDLE report said that there was Dilaudid and a couple other things in her system. Do you think that plays into her memory of the events?
I think that she did take drugs willingly with Billy Boyette. I don't believe that he actually drugged her. And what I find interesting is, even in your interview with her, she's able to give very detailed information about turns they made and places they went and cars they drove and stores they went to. And even in her interview with law enforcement, once she was taken into custody, she was able to give very detailed information.
So that leads you to believe?
That leads me to believe that she may have been doing drugs at some point during the time span that they were on the run, but I don't believe that she was involuntarily drugged.
Got it. One of the biggest questions that goes back and forth and that she still holds to this day was that she was not his girlfriend. Alicia Greer was his girlfriend. Can you tell me, I wasn't here for the trial, can you tell me what evidence there was that they were in a romantic relationship?
So I presented evidence from Facebook as well as from text messages where she had reached out to Billy Boyette while he was still incarcerated. Once he got out, he actually stayed with her in her home. And then I also presented text messages where they were telling each other they loved each other. They were, planning to do things together. They were supposedly going on camping trips and all of these other things. And I also received information from a girl that was housed with Mary that didn't want to testify at trial, but she did say that Mary told her that they were in love, that they were talking about getting married. And so I had no reason to believe other than the fact that they were in a relationship.
Why do you think then that she so vehemently denies it?
I think she denies that they're in a relationship because she has convinced herself that she is a victim and that she is a survivor of this crime spree when in fact she was a willing participant.
I'm trying to touch on multiple things that she said as they come to mind. She talks about the rope that she tied in the Kayla Crocker case, and then the main reason she is where she is now. Is there any truth to she tied it loose, or it was barely tied on, and that Billy went back and tied a second rope, that was what really bound her?
I don't remember the specifics as far as what the pictures were with the tying of Kayla's hands, but I do remember Kayla's mother testifying that they were tightly bound, and once she was able to undo them, that Kayla's body kind of fell over. So that led me to believe that they were in fact tightly bound.
With some of the stuff that she had to say about her attorney's incompetence, actually, before I get to that, can you talk a little bit about the Escambia County deputy who was fired for untruthfulness in her case? Did that have a role in any of your evidence, or how did that all come into play?
I wish I would have looked that up. I don't think at the time he testified he had been under investigation. I'm trying to think. I'm just talking out loud.
And if we can't get into it, that's fine.
I don't remember the time frame. I think when he testified, he didn't have those allegations against him. They did come at a later time, and I believe it was for like falsifying timesheets, or maybe it had something to do with his timesheets with the sheriff's office.
Okay, yeah. In the document she had, it said untruthfulness in your case.
I am not aware of any document that said that law enforcement officer was untruthful in her case. It's my understanding that he was let go from the sheriff's office because he was untruthful on some timesheets, but in my opinion, that had nothing to do with his testimony at trial.
If they send me that, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Because I had asked her attorney for it because DOC wouldn't let her. She was trying to give me like physical copies, but DOC wouldn't let her. So her attorney was going to have to email me the copies.
Yeah, I don't know of any information that is documented that says he was untruthful in her trial.
Okay. I think she had a letter, but I'll ask.
Wow. Okay.
I'll ask.
I'd be curious to see that.
And if I find it, I'll send it to you because I've got your email. Now fast forwarding back to what I was originally going to ask. That now I lost my train of thought. I hate when that happens.
You're talking about her lawyer.
Yes, she had these claims about her lawyer didn't let her get involved in the case, and that a juror was potentially sleeping or had his eyes closed, that she didn't get to testify even though she wanted to. Do you think there's ever any hope for her in getting a conviction set aside or a retrial?
As far as I know, her motion for post-conviction was denied by the court, I believe in 2023, where she made allegations against her attorney at the time. And as far as the sleeping juror, I believe we brought that to the court's attention, and it may have been a situation where the juror just kind of shut their eyes for, a short amount of time. Some people do that when they're listening to evidence. It doesn't necessarily mean they're sleeping, but it was brought to the court's attention, and I don't believe it merited any further discussion as far as the juror not listening to the evidence or participating in the trial. And the fact that she attacked her attorney, Ken Brooks has been around for years. He is an upstanding lawyer. He does a great job. From what I saw, obviously I'm not involved in the conversation, but from what I saw, he kept her informed. And as far as her testifying, the court gave a thorough colloquy about whether she wanted to take the stand, and she decided not to do that on her own.
And that's what I've heard about and research I've done about her attorney as well. So
yeah, he's great. He's a great guy.
Is there any sort of theories that you can share, and if you can't, that's fine, about why she was okay going along for this ride with Billy Bridgette, whom she wants to say she had no relationship with, said that repeatedly that Alicia Greer was his girlfriend. Do y'all know why she may have gone with him and allowed this stuff to happen?
In looking at her text messages, in looking at her Facebook information, and looking at kind of where she was at in her life, I believe that she was desperate for Billy Bridgette's attention. I think she was desperate to be in a relationship with him, and I think she wanted to do anything that she could in order to be with him. She didn't have custody she didn't have any of her 4 children living with her at the time. I don't know whether she had custody or not, but she worked at the Dollar General, and this was a man that was big and bad, and I think that she was very much attracted to him. And again, I'm going by her Facebook and her text messages, and she went on the spree with him.
Do you think, was there any evidence that somebody was actually watching her kids, which is what she says was the whole trigger into her doing all of these things?
There was absolutely no information that ever came to my attention or her attorney's, because he would have presented it, that anyone was watching her children. Her children were staying with, I believe, a family friend, and that person lived 4 miles from a police department. Not only that, but at the very beginning, Mary Rice actually sent pictures of her children to Billy Bridgette, and I also presented that to the jury.
Gosh. One of the things that was not brought up, but her attorney did do, and again, I don't know if you can talk about this or not, was she was evaluated by this doctor, and that was something that he had visited her many, many times, and then it was never brought into the trial. Do you think that examination or relationship could have had any weight on it to the jury? Because I'm sure you got a copy of it if they were maybe going to present it.
I do not recall getting a copy of that report, but I trust that if it said anything that would have been of value to Mary Rice's case, her attorney would have presented it. There may have been a situation where there was some evidence that was not favorable to her that would have come out, and he may have made a decision not to present that in an effort not to harm her case.
I'm just looking through some of the things that I asked her just to make sure I'm kind of hitting on some of these things.
Do I sound stupid?
No.
Are you sure? Okay.
No, you don't. You sound great.
Sometimes stuff just comes out of my mouth before I think about it. It's been so long. Gosh, when did I try this case?
I know, 18, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Because it happened in the beginning of 17, and I believe y'all tried it in like the fall of 18.
Okay.
Which is relatively fast, considering,
Yeah,
in my
yeah,
opinion.
Yeah.
But I also worked in Georgia, where cases went 4 or 5 years.
Oh,
before being
wow.
tried.
Yeah.
Do you know, did anybody along this spree, I know there was a witness from Dollar General or one of the stores when they were leaving up to Georgia, but did anybody else along their road trip call in and give you guys information that they saw her, that she tried to get help?
When they initially left Kayla Crocker's house, they stopped at a gas station, and the clerk there did reach out to law enforcement because she recognized Mary Rice. I think initially she was a little confused because Mary had dyed her hair, but she did reach out to law enforcement, and we were able to obtain video surveillance and the receipt for what she purchased.
But she didn't try to get any sort of like help or, hey, this is who I am.
Mary Rice?
Yeah.
We did not have any information from the number of stores that we were able to track her at that she ever asked anyone for help.
And again, that goes back to thinking her kids were under duress, but there's no evidence that they were ever in harm's way.
We had no evidence ever that her children were in harm's way at all.
You know, she talks about how if she were to be able to get her conviction set aside, that she would try to help other people and do good and make up for some of these things. But even if she were to get out, can you explain, just without getting into her Alabama case, what the process would look like? Because even if she got out, she wouldn't be a free woman.
If for some reason her conviction was overturned or was sent back for us to retry her, she still has a hold out of Alabama, I believe, for a case that's pending there.
So then at that point, then she would just transfer basically to their custody and start all over.
Correct. Yeah, if she were released from Florida Department of Corrections, I believe there would be a hold on her out of Alabama, so she would be transferred to their custody to face the charges there.
And as we go through this and as people hear her version of events for the first time, really, what do you want the public to take away from hearing her?
Say that again.
When the public hears Mary's version of events and hears for the first time what she says happened, what do you want them to be thinking about, or what do you want the public to know about her first interview?
So there are real victims of domestic violence out there, right? We see it every day in our line of business. Real victims of domestic violence. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Billy Bridgette did not at some point put his hands on Mary Rice, because he certainly has a history of it. He certainly was capable of it. And he was a horrible human being. So did he put his hands on Mary Rice during this crime spree? He probably did. But it was not to the level that she wants everyone to believe. I mean, she made allegations that he tried to cut her fingerprints off, and that's just absolutely, that's preposterous. So again, I'm not trying to minimize victims of domestic violence, or that Mary Rice may have suffered some domestic violence, but it was not to the level that she wants to have everyone believe.
Jeremy?
Oh, I don't got anything else. I think that was great.
You know?
That was an awesome answer.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. And what's
Well,
crazy
it's hard for me because I don't want to go. There are victims out there. I just don't
Yeah.
think it's her.
Oh, no.
Well, what's
I mean,
crazy,
yeah.
I kid you not, I had just pulled that soundbite from her. That was the last thing I did before I walked out of the building, was
yeah.
pull that soundbite from her talking about fingerprints. So that's kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause
Well, I was just flipping through some of my notes, and I was like, because, I forgot I played her interview. I mean, I played it. So she got to tell her story, or what her story was at the time, that she was a victim of, Billy Bridgette, and he beat her constantly and, hit her in the head with a gun and pistol whipped her and raped her and, all these things. I mean, I put that out there for the jurors to hear.